Guys, oh girl, don't set yourselves on fire. You want to be warm, but not that warm.
Hello from the void, it's Rose. Welcome back to my channel for something new. Today we're going to be joining the sim I made recently in Cass, Eden Vervaine, for the first episode of my Poison Garden Apocalypse Legacy Challenge. It's a lot of things combined, it's a lot of information, and I'm not going to read it out. I'm just going to link everything down in the description. And while you're down there, if you want to give me a little like or a little subscribe, that's always appreciated. If you're new here, you might not know, but I often work things that get left in comments down below. So if you have any thoughts on how I can achieve the possible, achieving a grimy aesthetic in The Sims 4, any mods that might help, any ideas for story, any ideas for anything really, do throw it in the comments. I always love to see it, I always reply. And without any further ado, let's get to it.
We are in Oasis Springs, or rather an apocalyptic rebuild of Oasis Springs by Girl with the Plumbob tattoo for the beginning of my Poison Garden Apocalypse Legacy Challenge. Yes, that's a lot of things. We are following little Eden Vervaine, who is currently a teenager, for reasons I'll go into in a minute, and she is just running, searching for a new home. So, as some of you know, I wrote the Poison Garden Legacy Challenge. I'm going to pop the rules in the thing. And there's also an Apocalypse Legacy Challenge, which I'll link the rules to, but I'm not going to be following because they are incredibly complicated. In the proper Apocalypse Challenge, you unlock different elements of the sim world by completing careers. In order to grow things, you have to complete the fast food career. So I am going to have Eden start as a runaway teen, and she will be working in the fast food career. Eden is going to be starting out in this cute little gas station build. I got this off the gallery, it's by Ms. Manic Mama, I will link it below. It is pretty much completely empty. There's a few little bits and bobs, like a couple bits of wall art that I figured people wouldn't have looted. This fixed mirror that she's going and pressing her flirting in. A random hot dog, not sure why that's there. But basically it is a gutted gas station on top of a hill with like good view for defensive reasons. At this moment in time, Eden has just arrived in this new town. She's crossed the desert, she's looking for somewhere to shelter. The locals around here don't seem to be super hostile. They do have bags on their head for reasons we don't quite understand, but they haven't attacked us on sight, and this spot is quite defensible. It also does look like it's got quite a lot of collectibles around, which is going to be good because until such a point as we age up to an adult and have done the fast food career, we will not be able to cook or grow anything. So we're going to be relying on what we can forage, what we can find, and we will be able to buy ourselves a cooler at some point when we have some money. At the moment we have none simoleons because what is Sims without a little bit of suffering? I do love the grind. Yes, liking fitness would be helpful because you are going to have to run away. The only things really ready for harvesting at the moment are some sage bushes and a few like diggable collectibles, so we're just going to have Eden like go around and get them so they spawn as quickly as possible. An additional challenge I'm borrowing from the Apocalypse Legacy is that I'm only allowed to sell things from Eden's inventory on 1 day a week. I might have to up it to 2 if the bills situation is a problem, and I will be going to a specific lot to do that. Oh girl, don't set yourselves on fire. You want to be warm, but not that warm. Obviously nighttime in the deserts can get pretty cold, so we are just going to light these leaves on fire, partly just to get rid of them because they're kind of gross, but also to like warm ourselves against. And then we are going to head back to our temporary home where we have nothing to sleep on, so we will be sleeping outside on this fun little log bench. Sunday will be our selling day, so maybe if you work hard, Eden, by tomorrow you'll have a bed. Eden's woken up in the middle of the night because it's not very comfortable and might as well get up and on. Both the Poison Garden and the Apocalypse Legacy rules restrict movement, so in Poison Garden you're basically only allowed to leave your home lot at night time because you're in hiding, and in the Apocalypse Legacy Challenge you're not allowed to leave your home lot at all until you've unlocked it. So how we're going to play that out for Eden is, as a teenager she is not allowed to travel outside of her home lot, so she's not allowed to go through any load screens basically, except for when she needs to go and sell her things on selling day. Then when she is an adult, she will be allowed to go out on foraging trips, but only at night time, which is the Poison Garden rules. So for now, she is just tottering around, desperate for a wee, like getting as much forage stuff as possible so that we can go on our Sunday selling day and hopefully make ourselves enough money to get things like, I don't know, a toilet or at least a pea bush and a bed. We have made it to the squatters' ruins, which is where we're going to be selling our stuff every week, just in time for her not to wet herself, so I guess we get to put that off till later in the day. believe also somewhere on the slot she might be lucky enough to get a shower. So while she's here, she's allowed to use all the facilities, but she's only allowed to come here sporadically. For the story I want to tell in this challenge, I specifically placed Eden's home lot in this neighbourhood. It's super isolated, but kind of cinematic. There's this big ruin we can use for trading, and there's not too many people around. Yeah, we don't have any money for food, and also I'm playing with both the simple living and off-the-grid lot challenges on, as well as great soil, so cooking's going to be really challenging until we can get growing properly. So yeah, expect quite a lot of Eden being pretty miserable. The early episodes of this are going to be a massive grind. There is no way around that, because at some point she is going to pee herself and she is going to stink and it is going to be about time. But for now, it's Sunday and we have the possibility of selling what we found. I'm going to keep hold of some of the carrots and some of the other edibles just because she needs to eat, and at the moment we don't have a cooler or anything, so to avoid starvation we are going to need to eat that stuff. And now we're done selling, that means it's time to go home. We cannot linger, we're not meant to socialise, especially not with the baghead people. They might not be the people that are after Eden, but they're still not people that she trusts, so it is time to go home. Once she becomes an adult, she'll be able to travel to sort of faraway places where she doesn't run the risk of compromising herself, and then she will be able to socialise a little bit. But until then, her social bar is going to be pretty low unless I can get her high enough in the gardening skill that she can talk to plants. But honestly, would you want to talk to those people? They're weird and mostly naked. Although I do quite like the idea of having a bag on my head and just changing the expression. So the aesthetic of Gen 1 of the Poison Garden Legacy is survivalist, which obviously matches well with the apocalypse theme. So as much as is possible, given we live in a gas station, which is kind of an obvious building, we are going to be hiding Eden's existence. So we are tucking the door behind that shelf there, and that leaves us with just enough money to buy the cheapest of the coolers. Honestly, I was hoping our money would go further than this. I was hoping to buy either a cot or a sink so that she could be, more comfortable sleeping or less dirty, but that was not possible. So we've got a bit of money left over and we will do some more foraging. Perhaps we'll find a few more things we can go sell before the end of selling day. Normally I'd only let her go once, but given we're at the beginning and I did like a super hard mode startup, I will let her go and sell these cherries because the girl deserves to sleep on a bed. She's quested across the desert on the run from, well, it's a bit early to say yet, but on the run for sure. So we are going to do a whip round where we came yesterday, up and down the hill, get all the good stuff together, and then we are going to go and hope beyond hope that we get enough together that we can buy some things. It's going to be a lot of repetition at this stage, but I won't make you watch it every time. Just know that if 3 sim hours are missing, it's probably because she's done a lap for collectibles. I feel like honestly the highest risk to her at this stage in the game, aside from starvation, is dying of either embarrassment or discomfort, because yeah, her motives are right on the edge. It's taking a lot to keep her in any of the positive frames of mind. We're going to try and give ourselves a little pep talk to keep this good thing going, because if she's too depressed we won't be able to do anything. Also, it makes a lot of sense to me that she would want to maximise her charisma, because you never know in an apocalypse when you're going to have to talk yourself out of a terrifying situation or persuade a warlord to leave you alone. So that is what she is focusing on just now. Then she is hit really uncomfortable just in time to go after her first day at work. I'm imagining that potentially as part of the deal for her being able to stay in this town and not be harassed, she has to go and donate her labour to whoever is in charge of the region, and she is off doing that as we watch the sunset. We're back and we made 64 simoleons, woohoo! And before you get to go home, little Eden, you are going to have to go back to the ruins and you are going to sell what you have found. Now, something else I forgot about earlier is that as part of the rules I am playing, Eden has to give up the most expensive collectible she's found each time as tax. So we're going to build ourselves a little tax offering pile. It's the cost of doing business on this lot, the local crime lords, apocalypse police, whatever you want to call them. Are going to come round and take her offerings, and if she isn't paying, then she will not be welcome any longer. So we are giving up almost 200 simoleons for the privilege of selling the remainder. Sad. But thanks to a couple of fossils, we now have almost 1,000 simoleons, which is amazing, which I'm going to instantly decimate by putting in this very off-putting gate, but it's absolutely essential to guard her back entrance, and we're left with 400 simoleons. I wanted to get her this more apocalypse looking sink, but in the end I decided to prioritise a bed because having her only be able to nap is not fun for either of us because I have to micromanage her, and that does leave us enough money for this little snot coloured sink. delightful. I will be trying to stick to her colour scheme, which is blue and green, for the decorations, and she has just crawled straight into bed and passed out, which, to be fair, looking at her motives, I don't blame the girl for. She's woken up in the middle of the night desperate to pee, but is for some reason putting more liquids on top of that need. I mean, we are at the point of, yeah, we've got the bladder fail queued up, it's coming. I feel terrible for her, I don't want this to happen, but there's no real way around it. We will try and get you a toilet soon, babe, but it's gonna take a little while because we can't sell anything else till Wednesday. And I think the safest thing is to send her to bed so she doesn't die of embarrassment. Stinking, unconscious and covered in pee is kind of on brand for my channel, so let's leave the first episode there.
I'm trialing a slightly shorter episode length for this series because it's meant to be filler and not distract from my full-time, full chaos, not so very safe. So let me know what you think of that. Are you excited to see more from Eden? I'm not going to be super repetitive and just show you days and days of her suffering. I will try and move the story along quite quickly. But do let me know what you're thinking. I always like to hear from you. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.